In the mystic heart of the Caribbean, amidst the lush forests and winding trails of Trinidad, lies a tale as chilling as the night itself. It's a tale that has been whispered from generation to generation, a tale of a character known as Bless You Bless, a mysterious and enigmatic being that straddles the line between the supernatural and the horrifyingly real. Bless You Bless is no ordinary character. She is a character deeply rooted in Caribbean folklore. Her description alone is enough to send shivers down your spine. Imagine a woman possessing an attractive body and adorned in alluring clothing, yet concealing a hideous face that remains perpetually hidden from the world. This grotesque dichotomy, the stark contrast between beauty and horror, is just the tip of the iceberg. But it's not just her eerie appearance that makes Bless You Bless a figure of dread. She possesses one human foot and one cow hoof, a surreal and horrifying blend of humanity and the unnatural. This bizarre characteristic isn't just for show, it serves a sinister purpose. Bless You Bless is a lure, a siren of the forest, and her victims are unsuspecting males who dare to venture into her realm. Her modus operandi is as devious as it is deadly. She beckons these hapless souls into the depths of the forest, where they soon find themselves disoriented and hopelessly lost. The consequences are dire, often involving gruesome ends. Some fall prey to the merciless jaws of wild animals, their screams swallowed by the unforgiving wilderness. Others meet equally horrifying fates, their lives extinguished by the unseen forces that haunt the woods. Our tale unfolds in the 1980s, in a Trinidad that bears little resemblance to the bustling island we know today. The narrator's uncle, a hard-working man who often returned home late at night, becomes an unwitting participant in the legend of Bless You Bless. His journey into the heart of darkness begins on a street that, at the time, was far from the well-developed urban landscape we see today. The street he traverses is more than just a path. It's a winding trail surrounded by untamed bushes and thick forests, with only a few scattered houses to offer any semblance of civilization. The uncle's home, nestled a quarter of a mile from the road, stands as a solitary outpost in this untamed wilderness. The road itself is but a rough track, far from the paved thoroughfare we would recognize today. It is on one fateful night, as the uncle returns from his late-night shift, that he glimpses something that defies explanation. In the distance, he sees a woman walking along the road. Her clothing, eerily familiar, leads him to believe it's his senile great-grandmother. She had a history of wandering off, sometimes embarking on journeys that would take her far from home. As he approaches her, a sense of unease grips him. He calls out to her, expecting her to turn, acknowledge him, and perhaps accept his assistance. Yet, she remains unmoved, walking ahead as if oblivious to his presence. The white shawl that typically draped over her head flutters in the night breeze. And then, he notices her arms, the tattoos. It's unmistakable, yet utterly bizarre. What he sees next chills him to the bone. As he gazes downwards, he is met with a sight that defies all logic and reason. Where her left foot should be, there is instead a grotesque cow hoof. In that instant, as he stands mere feet away from this unholy apparition, she halts. Time itself seems to stop as their eyes meet, and sheer terror courses through his veins. In an act of sheer survival instinct, the uncle turns and flees as if pursued by demons. He races back to the safety of his home, the relentless pounding of his heart serving as a grim reminder of the terror he had just encountered. From that night onward, a tradition is born. His grandfather would stay awake, waiting for his return from work until the day he left that job for good. The legend of Bless You Bless endures, a spectral presence in the folklore of Trinidad. Her grotesque allure and deadly siren call continue to haunt the collective imagination, a testament to the enduring power of supernatural tales. The story of the uncle, forever changed by his encounter, serves as a chilling reminder that sometimes the line between myth and reality is far thinner than we dare to imagine. As we delve into the enigmatic world of Caribbean folklore, we find that the story of Bless You Bless is just one thread in a tapestry of mysteries that continue to perplex and terrify those who dare to explore the unknown. In the realm of dreams, where the boundaries between the living and the departed blur, extraordinary experiences unfold. It's a place where the inexplicable becomes real, and connections with those who have passed away are rekindled. This is the story of a series of profound dreams that transcended the ordinary, a narrative that explores the enduring bond between the dreamer and their departed ex-boyfriend. The journey into this intriguing tale begins with a tumultuous sea of emotions. The dreamer, engulfed in sorrow, found themselves sinking into a deep well of despair. It was on one such night that the departed ex-boyfriend appeared in a dream for the first time. In this ethereal encounter, the dreamer couldn't contain their longing. They poured out their heart, confessing their profound yearning for the departed soul. To their astonishment, the ex-boyfriend reciprocated their feelings, confessing that he missed them just as much. The dreamer was left in awe, their heartache momentarily quelled. The dream took a peculiar turn when the ex-boyfriend made an unexpected request. He expressed a desire for the dreamer to keep his drum set, a cherished possession that resonated with his identity as a drummer. However, the dreamer hesitated, unsure if they could fulfill this wish. In a twist of fate, the dreamer decided to visit the ex-boyfriend's home the next day, their heart heavy with the lingering request. To their surprise, the ex-boyfriend's mother echoed the same desire, to entrust the drum set to the dreamer. It was an uncanny turn of events, one that left the dreamer both bewildered and deeply moved. In a series of events that defied logical explanation, the ex-boyfriend's house fell victim to a mysterious robbery. Strangely, the stolen items included the very drum set that had been entrusted to the dreamer, alongside a PlayStation and even food. The dreamer couldn't help but feel that something otherworldly was at play. Inexplicably, the ex-boyfriend continued to visit the dreamer on multiple occasions. Each time, he walked and talked as if he were still among the living. It was during one of these visits that he shared an unsettling revelation about his family. The departed soul disclosed a disconcerting detail, his family's unusual behavior. He claimed that his mother and aunt had been intruding into his online presence, accessing his Facebook and MySpace accounts. This revelation raised unsettling questions about the boundaries between life and death. In a surprising turn of events, the ex-boyfriend implored the dreamer to change the passwords to his online accounts. Although initially hesitant, the dreamer ultimately agreed to carry out this peculiar request, sensing its significance in the larger tapestry of their connection. Ironically, as the dreamer changed the passwords, they found themselves forgetting these crucial strings of characters. The ethereal connection they had forged with the ex-boyfriend remained elusive, a fleeting bond that defied their attempts to retain it. In the culmination of this enigmatic saga, the departed ex-boyfriend extended an invitation to the dreamer, a journey to an undisclosed destination. The dreamer, curious yet cautious, inquired about the purpose of this excursion. As the dream unfolded, the dreamer found themselves at a somber gathering, an impending funeral. When they asked about the identity of the departed soul, the ex-boyfriend's response sent shivers down their spine. "You'll see," he whispered mysteriously. In the wake of the final dream, reality delivered a crushing blow. A call came, a call that would forever change the course of the dreamer's life. It was the aunt of the departed ex-boyfriend, bearing the devastating news that his mother had taken her own life. It was a poignant reminder of the complex web of emotions that had engulfed the family. In the ethereal dance between dreams and reality, the tale of the dreamer and their departed ex-boyfriend remains a haunting enigma. It is a story that challenges the boundaries of existence, where dreams become a conduit for otherworldly connections. In the end, it leaves us pondering the mysteries of life, death, and the profound ways in which the departed continue to touch our lives, even from beyond the veil of dreams. The chill of November had settled over the small town, casting long shadows over the cobbled streets. Emily, a theater student at the local college, shivered as she made her way to the old campus. Though the school was small, its history loomed large, especially the fact that it had once served as a Civil War hospital. With a heavy backpack slung over her shoulder, Emily entered the drama department. Her teacher, Mrs. Miller, had an unusual idea for their upcoming performance, monologues based on the town's departed souls. Emily's role? A Confederate soldier named Abraham Georginis. The monologue was anything but conventional. Alongside her friend, Mark, they portrayed their characters in a humorous light. Abraham was an irate soldier, endlessly lamenting his survival while others met their end in battle or succumbed to smallpox. It was a comical twist, but an unsettling feeling gnawed at Emily. One crisp afternoon, with boredom gnawing at their heels, Emily and her girlfriend, Lily, decided to venture to the local graveyard. Their mission, to locate Abraham's grave and gather some field research for the show. They arrived at the graveyard, a solemn place with time-worn tombstones that whispered secrets of days long past. Navigating through the rows of graves, Emily finally found Abraham's resting place. To her surprise, his grave had undergone recent renovations, standing out amid the dilapidated markers. A sense of connection washed over her as she traced the engraved name, Private Abraham Georginis. As she knelt to place a bouquet of flowers on his grave, she spoke softly, "I respect you, even though I'm playing you." Her words carried a human-like tone, a gesture spurred by curiosity more than anything else. She couldn't have foreseen the strange events that would follow. One evening, Emily and Lily were driving through town. Late hours and casual conversation filled the car. Emily made a routine turn onto a dimly lit street when her heart skipped a beat. A shadowy figure, as dark as the night, stood in the middle of the road. It was a man, but his entire form was a void, a shadow man. She blinked, and in the blink of an eye, the figure vanished into thin air. Emily knew, deep within her, that it was Abraham. His presence left her with an inexplicable sense of awe. But what followed was even more puzzling. Lily, who had been silent until that moment, suddenly burst into tears. Her emotions overwhelmed her, as if a tidal wave of sorrow had crashed over her. Emily pulled the car over, trying to comfort her trembling girlfriend, but Lily could only sob uncontrollably. It was as though she had tapped into an unfathomable well of grief, a sorrow that didn't belong to her. These incidents only marked the beginning. What baffled Emily the most was that Abraham's presence didn't invoke fear or danger. Instead, she felt a profound sense of safety and calm, as if he were her protector. As if adding to the enigma, their college was infamous for being haunted. But all the spirits Emily had previously encountered were of the conventional sort, white, ethereal, and translucent. Abraham was different. He appeared as a shadow, a stark contrast to the standard ghostly figures. Emily couldn't keep these peculiar events to herself any longer. She needed to share her experiences and gather other opinions. But she couldn't emphasize enough that Abraham harbored no malevolent intentions. If anything, he seemed like a guardian, a protector. The town was abuzz with whispers about Emily's encounters. Some dismissed them as mere superstition, while others believed she had stumbled upon something truly extraordinary. As Emily navigated through this new chapter in her life, the question lingered: why was Abraham here, and what did he seek to accomplish? As the days turned into weeks, Emily couldn't shake the feeling of Abraham's presence. It had become a comforting, albeit mysterious, aspect of her life. She often found herself visiting his grave, sharing her thoughts as if he were listening. One crisp December morning, Emily awoke to find a small, weathered diary tucked under her pillow. Its pages were filled with Abraham's handwritten entries, detailing his life during the Civil War. It was as though he was trying to communicate, to share his story with her. With each page she turned, Emily grew more captivated by the soldier's tale. She discovered that Abraham had been just 19 years old when he lost his life on that fateful Christmas day. His dreams, his aspirations, all cut short by the cruel hand of fate. Determined to unravel the mystery further, Emily decided to dig deeper into the town's history. She uncovered forgotten records of Abraham's existence, his family, and his aspirations beyond the battlefield. It was as if the soldier's spirit had chosen her to be his storyteller, to ensure that his memory lived on. As the months passed, Emily's bond with Abraham deepened. She knew that his presence was a gift, a connection forged across time and space. Together, they would uncover the untold stories of the past and bring them to life in the present. Their journey was only beginning, and Emily couldn't help but wonder what other mysteries awaited her in this extraordinary connection between the living and the departed. It was one of those uneventful Sundays, the kind where time seemed to stretch endlessly ahead, urging Jake and me to find something, anything, to break the monotony of suburban life. The sun hung lazily in the sky, casting a golden hue over the park as we pondered our options. "Hey, Jake," I began, itching for an adventure. "You ever thought about doing something different?" Jake turned to me, his curiosity piqued. "Like what?" The idea had been swirling in my mind for a while. "A Ouija board," I declared, a mischievous glint in my eye. Jake raised an eyebrow, equal parts intrigue and skepticism. "You believe in that stuff?" I shrugged, half believer, half skeptic myself. "Who knows? But it could be fun, right? Besides, I've heard stories about spirits getting stuck in your home if you invite them in." Jake's eyes widened with interest. "All right, I'm in. But let's not do it near our neighborhood. Don't want any unexpected roommates." We chuckled and set off for a park farther away, a place where the ghosts of our daily lives couldn't follow. With a sturdy piece of cardboard and a pair of Ouija lighters, we embarked on our supernatural experiment. As we found a quiet spot under the shade of an ancient oak tree, my excitement was tinged with unease. I had heard that for the Ouija board to work, you had to let the spirits take control, and that idea made me shiver. But curiosity was a relentless muse, and so we began. Our fingers lightly touched the planchette, our hands trembling with a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. "Are there any spirits who would like to talk with us?" I asked, my voice quivering ever so slightly. We repeated the question about 15 times, our hopes dwindling with each attempt. "Let's just do it one more time," I suggested, "then we can call it a day." We leaned in once more, our fingers grazing the planchette. "Are there any spirits who'd like to talk with us?" And then it happened. The planchette moved, inching slowly toward yes. Jake's eyes widened, his jaw dropping open in disbelief. My initial reaction was skepticism. "Dude, that's not funny at all." "Stop moving it," I scolded. But Jake's expression was dead serious. "I didn't move it, man. I thought you did. A chill ran down my spine as I realized he wasn't joking. It wasn't a prank. Something supernatural was at play. Okay, then, I said, my voice quavering, I'll ask it something only I know. I concentrated, picturing my room in my mind, its details vivid in my memory. In the bottom desk drawer, beneath a layer of forgotten trinkets, lay an old steel-backed iPod Touch. Jake didn't know about it. There was no way he could. What is in the bottom desk drawer at my house? I inquired, the words trembling as they left my lips. The planchette, seemingly guided by an unseen force, began to move. I-P-O. My heart pounded as I watched the letters form on the board. I couldn't believe it. Jake and I exchanged a glance, and the reality of the situation hit us like a tidal wave. I took my hands away, I confessed, and yelled, "Jake, did you go through my stuff?" But Jake's expression was one of bewilderment. "You're pranking me, aren't you?" he asked, his voice a mix of confusion and disbelief. It was only then that the gravity of the situation dawned on me. This wasn't a prank. We were talking to a spirit, a presence beyond our understanding. As the minutes turned into hours, we bombarded the spirit with countless questions, some silly, some profound. What am I thinking? What's your name? Are you a peaceful spirit? And then came the chilling moment. Do you want to hurt us? The planchette moved, agonizingly slowly, spelling out the word we had dreaded. Y-E-S. Jake and I exchanged horrified glances. The park, once a haven of tranquility, now felt like a malevolent abyss. The sensation of being watched, of being scrutinized by an unseen entity, was suffocating. "I don't want to do this anymore," Jake declared, his voice trembling with fear. I couldn't agree more. We swiftly packed up the Ouija board and tossed it into a nearby gated area. Without uttering a word, we fled the park, our footsteps echoing our shared sense of dread. As we ran, we passed the person walking their dog. The canine barked frantically at us, a stark departure from the usual docile behavior of neighborhood pets. In the picturesque landscape of Trinidad and Tobago, nestled in the heart of the Caribbean, a rich tapestry of folklore weaves its way through generations. Among the myriad tales that dance through the collective imagination, one stands out, ****, the Dwens, ****, enigmatic spirits believed to be the souls of unbaptized children. The Dwens, often portrayed as both eerie and captivating, are described as having a peculiar visage. They lack facial features, save for a hauntingly O-shaped mouth, which defies the norms of human anatomy. To add to their unsettling appearance, Dwens are often depicted wearing oversized hats, lending an air of grotesque whimsy to their otherwise sinister presence. One of the most chilling aspects of Dwens is their malevolent intent. These otherworldly entities are believed to have a sinister purpose, to lead innocent children into the heart of the forest, where they become hopelessly lost and meet a tragic end. It is a dark and disturbing narrative that has haunted the imaginations of generations. Dwens are not confined to the depths of the forest alone. They are said to frequent places that carry an air of mystery and danger, rivers and bamboo patches. These locations, often teeming with the secrets of nature, serve as the backdrop for the Dwens' eerie encounters. For those who call Trinidad and Tobago home, the Dwens are not mere stories but whispered cautions passed down through the ages. Grandparents and elder relatives, custodians of tradition and knowledge, have long warned the young about the lurking presence of Dwens. Their stories are laden with eerie omens, especially for those living in close proximity to forests and rivers. One of the most spine-chilling aspects of Dwens is their uncanny ability to mimic the voices of those they seek to ensnare. It is a skill that has struck fear into the hearts of many. The warning is clear: if you hear someone calling your name, exercise caution, for it might not be who it seems. In the face of these ominous tales, there are those who dare to defy caution. Among them is the narrator, a curious and adventurous child who lived near a forested area and a meandering river. Being an only child, the allure of solitary play by the river was irresistible. One fateful evening, as the clock neared 4 p.m., the atmosphere underwent an inexplicable transformation. The wind, which had whispered through the trees, ceased its gentle caress. The leaves hung still, and an eerie quiet descended upon the landscape. Even the bustling street outside seemed to have frozen in time. Amidst this unnatural stillness, a voice shattered the silence. It was the voice of the narrator's mother, calling out their name with an urgency that sent shivers down their spine. The voice seemed to emanate from across the river, where the bamboo patch lay in ominous repose. It called, relentless and unyielding, for what felt like an eternity. In the face of the familiar voice, doubt gnawed at the narrator's soul. Something felt amiss, unsettling. Despite the apparent familiarity, an instinctual impulse guided their actions. Rather than rushing towards the beckoning voice, they chose a different path, a path of caution and intuition. As they ventured inside the house, the voice continued its haunting call, as if defying the boundaries of reality. Yet, as they reached the back room, they were met with an unsettling revelation. Their mother stood there, engaged in the mundane task of laundry, far removed from the eerie voice. Their inquiry revealed that she had not called their name. Looking out towards the river, the calling ceased abruptly, leaving an unsettling stillness in its wake. The narrator questioned their mother once more, only to receive the same answer. She had heard nothing out of the ordinary. From that day forward, the narrator's life was irrevocably altered. They no longer ventured beyond the boundaries of their home, haunted by the memory of that eerie call. In Trinidad and Tobago, where the natural beauty of the Caribbean intertwines with the mysteries of folklore, the legend of the Dwens continues to captivate and terrify. It serves as a chilling reminder that some stories are more than mere tales. They are enigmatic envoys from the shadowy realms of the unknown. The Dwens, with their sinister allure and deceptive mimicry, remain an enduring part of Trinidad's rich tapestry of folklore, a testament to the eerie mysteries that lurk within the heart of nature. It was a time of change, marked by the uncertain haze of adolescence, when my family's life shifted in unexpected ways. We had moved in with my aunt, my mother's sister, temporarily. The idea had been to save as much as possible as my parents embarked on a risky venture, intending to start their own business. Little did we know that this decision would set in motion a series of events that would forever haunt our memories. I had been around 12 years old, midway through my 6th grade year, when we made this transition. The weeks of school dragged on, but my family's dreams of entrepreneurship fueled our determination. However, reality often deviates from our plans, and soon, the seams of my parents' marriage began to unravel. The dream of starting a business quickly turned into a nightmare of divorce. In the aftermath of this upheaval, my mother found her own place, and my father continued to reside in a room within my aunt's apartment. I, on the other hand, remained with my aunt, a bridge between my parents' separate worlds. Middle school was ending, and the threshold of high school beckoned, but destiny had other plans. The encounter I'm about to recount unfolded somewhere between the years 2014 and 2015. I was approximately 13 or 14 years old at the time, my memory fuzzy regarding the precise details. It's a tale that has remained etched in my mind, haunting my thoughts with each passing day. It was a weekend morning, and the sun cast its gentle embrace upon our modest abode. My aunt, along with her family, prepared to attend church. Uninterested in the religious ritual that had always bored me, I decided to stay behind, a decision that would lead to an eerie and unforgettable experience. "We'll be back later," around evening, my aunt announced as they headed for the church, leaving me to my own devices. As soon as the door closed behind them, I seized the opportunity to indulge in a slice of personal freedom. Netflix became my companion, and a bag of chips my loyal sidekick. I settled onto the couch, and as the opening credits of Malcolm in the Middle rolled across the screen, I chuckled at the antics of the dysfunctional family on display. My cousin's dog nestled beside me, basking in the warmth of companionship and contentment. The hours drifted by like leaves on a gentle stream, and the episodes of the show entertained and amused. As my cousin's dog grew restless, he decided to retire to my cousin's room, a habitual retreat when solitude beckoned. The doors between our rooms were perpetually ajar, forming a passageway for the house's energies to flow. Time continued its leisurely march, until suddenly, a disturbance shattered the tranquility of the morning. My bedroom door slammed shut with a force that sent shockwaves through my senses. Instinctively, I attributed it to a stray gust of wind that had somehow infiltrated the room, but a nagging doubt lingered, for I knew I had closed all the windows. Dismissively, I muttered to myself, perhaps I left a window open, doubting my own judgment. Just as I began to brush off the incident as a product of my imagination, another event unfolded that would forever sear itself into my memory. My cousin's dog, who had retired to his room, erupted into frenzied barking for a mere 5 seconds before abruptly falling silent. As the echoes of the dog's frantic barking faded into the silence of the apartment, I found myself locked in a moment of suspended animation. An eerie sensation washed over me as my gaze fixated on the space just beyond the corner of my eye. From the hall that led to our rooms, a figure emerged, an apparition that defied rational explanation. Despite the corner of my eye glimpse, its spectral form was unmistakably visible. It bore the semblance of a woman, yet its features were twisted into an unsettling, otherworldly pallor. Its skin, whiter than freshly fallen snow, formed a stark contrast against its long, wet-looking hair that clung to its form like tendrils of darkness. The most unsettling aspect lay in its eyes, enormous orbs of darkness, unblinking and devoid of humanity. As I stared in shock and disbelief, the figure remained, observing me with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. Panic surged within me, but my curiosity held me captive. Was this a mere hallucination, or had I stumbled upon something truly supernatural? My heart raced as I contemplated my next move. Tentatively, I turned to face the spectral presence head-on, my breath caught in my throat. The figure, however, recoiled, as if disturbed by my direct gaze. It sought refuge by retreating into the shadows, vanishing from view. Doubt gnawed at my thoughts, and I returned my attention to the television screen, hoping to escape the inexplicable. Yet, the figure's curiosity seemed insatiable, for it dared to reappear, peeking out once more from its ethereal hiding place. This time, its spectral hands clung to the wall, as if tethered between realms. Its visage extended further, revealing its face up to the bridge of its nose. The details etched into my memory were eternally haunting, its hands eerily white, fingers long and translucent. Fear seized my heart, and my gaze remained locked on the apparition. But what did it want? Why had it chosen to reveal itself to me? My unease deepened as I pondered these questions. Desperate to escape its unsettling presence, I shifted my focus back to the television screen. I willed it to leave me in peace, but the figure persisted, lingering on the fringes of my peripheral vision. At that moment, a surge of resolve coursed through me. With a deep breath, I turned to confront the apparition once more, hoping that my assertiveness would deter its intrusion. but my actions only seemed to provoke it further, for the figure promptly vanished into the shadows. A chilling silence engulfed the living room as I grappled with the inexplicable events that had unfolded. Unable to contain my rising fear, I rushed to the front door and hastily dialed my mother's number. My trembling voice relayed the eerie encounter, an encounter that defied explanation. My mother's reaction, however, was not what I had expected. She responded with bewilderment, her confusion evident through the phone. "It's because you've been behaving badly," she insisted, offering to pick me up and take me to her house. But I hesitated, reluctant to leave the apartment. Instead, I opted to remain, seeking refuge in the open door, a feeble attempt at finding solace in the fading daylight. Hours crept by, and the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the apartment into shadow. Anxiety and solitude became my companions as I awaited the return of my aunt and her family. Around 6 p.m., their familiar voices echoed through the apartment, accompanied by the comforting sounds of their presence. I mustered the courage to recount my harrowing experience to my mother, bracing myself for her disbelief. To my surprise, my mother didn't dismiss my account as the product of an overactive imagination. Instead, she listened intently, her expression a mixture of concern and understanding. "I've seen it too," she confessed, her voice tinged with the weight of shared experiences. She described her own encounters, footsteps and eerie figures glimpsed in the early hours of the morning, staring from the kitchen. Her validation provided a modicum of comfort, reassuring me that I wasn't alone in my unnerving experiences. The apartment had a history, and it seemed we were not the only ones to have sensed its lingering presence. As time passed, our encounters with the mysterious figure dwindled. The specter that had haunted our apartment gradually receded into the shadows, leaving behind an eerie but fading memory. Yet, the inexplicable encounter would forever serve as a reminder that there are forces beyond our comprehension, lurking at the edges of our reality, waiting to be unveiled. As I pen down this chapter, the vivid recollection of that fateful day remains etched in my mind. It is a testament to the inexplicable, a testament to the enduring mysteries of our world. Join me as I recount a spine-tingling paranormal experience that defied all explanation, leaving me shaken to the core. The night I heard creaking floors, ghostly footsteps, and an eerie presence that foreshadowed a chilling revelation, asterisk. We all have stories that we tuck away in the recesses of our minds, tales that seem surreal yet remain etched in our memory with an indelible ink of truth. This is one such story, a personal account of a night that shattered my skepticism about the paranormal. It began as an ordinary night in May. I was comfortably ensconced in my routine, watching videos, scrolling through social media pages, and reveling in the peaceful solitude of my home. While I had heard strange noises at night before, such as the occasional creaking of steps and floorboards, this night was destined to be different. The initial sounds were familiar, soft creaks and distant footsteps. As someone who often teetered on the edge of being paranoid, I attributed these noises to my overactive imagination. After all, the mind can play tricks on you, especially when you're alone at night. But then, something changed. As the minutes ticked by, the footsteps grew louder, more pronounced, and unmistakably real. I couldn't dismiss this as a figment of my imagination any longer. To my astonishment, I began to hear breathing, an eerie, soft exhalation that sent shivers down my spine. In all my previous encounters with the unexplained, I had never encountered such a tangible presence. The footsteps, now drawing closer, filled me with an overwhelming sense of dread. I was trembling, on the verge of tears, and completely bewildered. In my desperation, I texted friends, seeking guidance, but feeling entirely helpless as the inexplicable phenomena unfolded just outside my door. And then, the inexplicable happened. As the presence drew practically to my doorstep, it abruptly halted. Silence enveloped the room, amplifying my fear. I was left in a state of shock, my body quivering, my thoughts in disarray. Approximately 30 minutes later, I heard my mother descending the stairs. Confused and alarmed, I rushed into the other room to inquire about the commotion. Her response sent chills coursing down my spine. My grandmother had passed away. In that singular moment, the pieces of an eerie puzzle fell into place. The paranormal encounter I had just experienced seemed to be intrinsically linked to my grandmother's passing. The unexplained breathing, the ghostly footsteps, they all seemed like an otherworldly announcement, a prelude to the tragic news. This encounter challenged my skepticism, pushing me to question the boundaries of what we deem possible. I cannot deny the visceral fear and unexplainable phenomena that unfolded that night. It was unlike anything I had ever experienced. Life is filled with mysteries that elude our comprehension, experiences that defy logical explanation. My paranormal encounter was one such enigma, a chilling reminder that there are forces beyond our understanding. It remains etched in my memory, a testament to the unexplained and a chilling connection between this world and the next. As I reflect on that unforgettable night, I am reminded that sometimes reality transcends our understanding, and we are left to ponder the mysteries that lie beyond the veil. Unexplained encounters like these leave us with more questions than answers, and they remind us that the world is full of mysteries that are yet to be unraveled. Working the night shift can often be a solitary and peaceful experience, but it can also lead to unexpected encounters that send shivers down your spine. We'll delve into a chilling story that unfolded during a late-night shift in an office building. The tale underscores the eerie atmosphere of empty office spaces at night and the importance of personal safety. For many, the night shift in an office building offers a unique blend of tranquility and productivity. With fewer distractions and a quieter atmosphere, it can be an ideal time to focus on tasks without the hustle and bustle of daytime office life. However, there's a flip side to this solitude that can sometimes lead to unsettling experiences. The story takes place on a Friday night around 2 o'clock in the morning. Our protagonist, working diligently on their tasks, was accustomed to the quietude of the late shift. In fact, they often found themselves as the only person on their floor and sometimes even in the entire building. While the solitude brought peace, it also came with a sense of eerie isolation. As our protagonist typed away on their keyboard, their concentration was interrupted by an unexpected noise. It was a sudden crack from somewhere in the building, an unusual occurrence in this typically quiet workspace. At first, they dismissed it as a random sound, likely caused by the building's settling. However, this was just the beginning of a series of eerie events. Shortly after the unexplained noise, another sound disrupted the silence, the unmistakable whir of a computer starting up. This was highly unusual, given that our protagonist was almost always the sole occupant of the office during their night shift. The abrupt startup caught them off guard and sent a shiver down their spine. Curiosity and a sense of unease prompted our protagonist to investigate further. They stood up on their chair, providing them with a vantage point over the cubicle walls. In the dimly lit room, they spotted the glaring light of a computer screen emanating from a cubicle on the opposite side. It was a disconcerting sight, as they were sure that no one else was scheduled for the night shift. In a moment of recklessness, our protagonist called out, asking if there was anyone there. They hoped for a reassuring response from a fellow employee, but what followed was far from reassuring. Instead of an answer or the appearance of a colleague, the glaring light from the computer monitor across the room abruptly turned off. The room plunged back into darkness, leaving our protagonist in a state of heightened anxiety. Realizing that something was amiss, they took swift action to conceal their presence. Our protagonists turned off their own lamp and computer screen, ensuring they wouldn't inadvertently reveal their location to the mysterious intruder. They crouched down and moved stealthily to a nearby cubicle. An eerie silence enveloped the room, broken only by the sound of their own breathing and the pounding of their heart. They remained hidden, unsure of what to do next, and waited in tense anticipation for any sign of movement or sound. Time seemed to stretch endlessly as they held their breath, praying that the situation would resolve itself without incident. As minutes turned into an agonizing eternity, our protagonist mustered the courage to inch closer to the cubicle's edge. What they witnessed sent a cold chill down their spine. A man, dressed entirely in black, was crouched down behind a potted plant in the corner of the room. Their hearts sank as they realized that their worst fears were confirmed. There was an intruder in the office. The man in black appeared oblivious to the fact that our protagonist had detected his presence. Heart pounding and with adrenaline surging through their veins, they knew they had to escape without alerting the intruder. Carefully, they retreated from their hiding spot and tiptoed past the other cubicles, moving as silently as possible. Just when it seemed that our protagonist had eluded the intruder, a terrifying realization struck them. The intruder had not only detected their presence, but was now in pursuit. The sound of manic, echoing footsteps from above sent shockwaves of fear through their body. With a surge of adrenaline, our protagonist raced down the stairs, their footsteps echoing through the stairwell. The intruder was hot on their heels, the sound of his frenzied pursuit growing louder with each step. It was a heart-pounding race for survival as they descended floor after floor, driven by fear and the urgent need to escape. Finally, our protagonist reached the first floor, bursting into the lobby of the office building. They sprinted through the deserted lobby, propelled by a mixture of fear, relief, and disbelief. Miraculously, the intruder did not follow them, and they found themselves standing outside the building, trembling but safe. The immediate response was to contact the authorities. Our protagonist called the police, recounting the terrifying encounter and providing as much information as possible. Additionally, they informed one of their bosses about the incident. The police conducted a thorough search of the office building, scouring every floor, nook, and cranny. However, to their bewilderment, there was no sign of the intruder. Our protagonist, still shaken from the encounter, could offer only a vague description. The man had been dressed entirely in black. In the aftermath of this harrowing experience, our protagonist continued to work the night shift for approximately 1 more week. Their boss took measures to enhance security, allowing them to lock all possible entrances to the floor, including the elevators. However, the sense of discomfort and unease lingered. The tale of the mysterious intruder serves as a stark reminder of the unexpected dangers that can lurk in seemingly secure environments. While the night shift can offer solitude and productivity, personal safety should always be paramount. Trusting one's instincts and taking swift action in unsettling situations can be the difference between a chilling encounter and a safe escape. Were there any subsequent developments or sightings of the intruder? Despite extensive searches by the police, there were no subsequent developments or sightings of the intruder. The incident remains a mystery. Has there been any change in security measures since the encounter? Yes, security measures were enhanced following the incident. Entrances to the floor, including elevators, can now be locked, providing an added layer of safety for employees during the night shift. How has the experience affected the protagonist's work routine? The protagonist continued to work the night shift for a brief period, but eventually switched to daytime shifts. The encounter left a lasting sense of discomfort, making them more comfortable working during the day. The stillness of a Saturday night was shattered when an unexpected visitor made a chilling appearance. In this story, we'll delve into a spine-tingling tale that unfolded in the eerie hours of the morning. It's a story that serves as a reminder that even the quietest of nights can take an unexpected and unsettling turn. It was 4 a.m. on a quiet Saturday night where our story begins. The world outside was draped in darkness, and most people were deep in the embrace of slumber. However, one individual found themselves roused from their peaceful sleep by an insistent and relentless grumbling in their stomach. We all know the discomfort of trying to sleep on an empty stomach, and this person was no exception. Driven by the gnawing hunger, they decided to rise from their bed and venture into the kitchen in search of a late-night snack. As they entered the kitchen, an unsettling sight awaited them. The cabinet, which they were meticulous about closing, stood open. This minor deviation from their routine struck them as odd, and they couldn't fathom how they could have overlooked such a detail. While many would have simply closed the cabinet and moved on, this individual possessed a keen sense of vigilance. Instead of dismissing the anomaly, they decided to investigate their surroundings meticulously. Their quest for answers led them to search every nook and cranny of their home, diligently checking each closet and room. However, it was their journey to the den that uncovered the unsettling truth. As they descended into the dimly lit den, a chilling sight awaited them. The back door, which should have been securely shut, stood wide open, inviting the cold night air and potential intruders into the sanctuary of their home. The realization that someone had trespassed into their home sent shivers down their spine. With a mixture of fear and curiosity, they mustered the courage to step outside onto the patio. There, in the faint glow of the patio light, they spotted a figure. The intruder was seated in one of the patio chairs, his appearance disheveled and his demeanor enigmatic. His long, unkempt hair framed his face, and he gazed at the homeowner with a vacant expression. The homeowner and the intruder locked eyes, their unspoken intentions hanging in the air like an ominous cloud. For what felt like an eternity, they stood on opposite sides of the glass door, each assessing the other's next move. Realizing the urgency of the situation, the homeowner decided to act swiftly. With a rush of adrenaline, they retreated back into the safety of their home, hastily closing and locking the door behind them. It was a tense standoff, with both parties separated by the thin barrier of the door. As seconds ticked away, the homeowner knew they had to take action. With trembling hands, they reached for the phone and dialed the emergency number. The dispatcher answered, and they relayed the chilling events that were unfolding in real time. While on the line with the dispatcher, the homeowner witnessed a baffling turn of events. The intruder, who had been a menacing presence just moments before, had vanished. Despite their fear and uncertainty, they remained on the line with the dispatcher until law enforcement arrived. The arrival of the police marked the beginning of a thorough investigation into the unsettling intrusion. Law enforcement officers combed the area, searching for any trace of the mysterious intruder. However, despite their efforts, no evidence or clues were discovered that could shed light on the identity or motives of the enigmatic visitor. The midnight intrusion serves as a chilling reminder that safety can be compromised even in the sanctity of one's own home. In the darkest hours of the night, unexpected and unsettling events can unfold, testing our courage and resourcefulness. This harrowing encounter highlights the importance of vigilance and quick thinking in the face of danger. It's a story that leaves us with unanswered questions and a lingering sense of unease, reminding us that sometimes the most inexplicable events can occur when we least expect them. Was there any indication of the intruder's motive or intent? The intruder's motive or intent remained unclear. Their sudden appearance and subsequent disappearance left many questions unanswered. Did the homeowner take any additional security measures following the incident? While the exact security measures taken by the homeowner are not specified, it can be assumed that they would have taken steps to secure their home and prevent future intrusions. Were there any subsequent incidents or sightings of the intruder? No subsequent incidents or sightings of the intruder were reported. The intruder appeared to have vanished without a trace, adding to the mystery of the encounter. In the annals of time, my elder sister, Jennifer, shines her radiant light, a beacon, 5 years my senior. The chronicle I weave unfolded half a decade in the past, ere Jennifer's heart found its home in the arms of her present suitor. In those bygone days, she ventured into the realm of Tinder, seeking the elusive connection. I can vividly recollect that fateful night, as she confided in both myself and our other sibling, Maria. Her intent was to rendezvous with a gentleman at a nearby tavern, a mere stroll from her dwelling. At the bar, she took her seat, summoning the man with a discreet message. Swiftly, within the span of a solitary minute, a stranger arrived, proffering libations and his companionship. This suitor, alas, bore the weight of years upon his shoulders, his presence tainted by a noxious miasma, his breath unkind, and a lone tooth in disarray. Swiftly, Jennifer demurred, politeness masking her discomfort, for she anticipated another, her true rendezvous. However, the stranger lingered, obstinate, insisting upon his offer of spirits, as if time was a fleeting ember. Unease gripped her like a spectral hand, and with grace, she beseeched him to depart, to free her from his unwelcome company. He reluctantly acquiesced, though not without protest. Her vigilance followed him as he retreated to a distant alcove. Messages to her awaited companion went unanswered, a disconcerting omen. His words, a curious anomaly, for he urged her to partake in libations without his presence, an unsettling entreaty, indeed. To her dismay, the man from earlier returned, assuming his place beside her, bearing questions and a facade of distress at her solitude. Jennifer offered curt replies, her patience dwindling like the evening shadows. Eventually, exasperated, she implored him once more to leave her be. The final text to her awaited paramour, a simple apology and a declaration of her imminent departure, summoned an unexpected revelation. The stranger's dormant phone buzzed upon the bar's surface, and in that instant, Jennifer's instincts sharpened. She feigned a trip to the restroom, consulting with Maria, her counsel sought in a moment of trepidation. Maria's advice was succinct: flee, return home. As Jennifer exited the restroom, the stranger had vanished into the night, leaving her with an unspoken sigh of relief. She hastened to her vehicle, traversing the short distance home, a path of unwavering resolve. Upon arriving at our domicile, a peculiar sight met her gaze. A vehicle idled across the street, not directly before our abode, but one dwelling over. This discovery prompted her to recount her harrowing ordeal to Maria and me. Maria, in her wisdom, offered solace and reassurance, consoling Jennifer with sisterly empathy. I, on the other hand, swore that should the odious interloper ever dare approach my kin again, swift retribution would befall him. In the hours that followed, we retreated to our respective chambers, returning to our individual pursuits. I, engrossed in the digital world of Far Cry 4, Maria consoling Jennifer in her own gentle way. But destiny had more to unfold. From Jennifer's perspective, ensconced in her bed with the glow of her phone illuminating the room, a message arrived, unbidden. It bore an apology, a feeble attempt to explain the delay in response to her earlier messages. It continued, unsettlingly, with an ominous declaration: I shall visit you at your abode. Pray, which window do you dwell behind? In her distress, Jennifer summoned Maria to her side, embroiled in a whispered deliberation. As they conversed, a sudden intrusion sent shivers through their souls, the window slid open, a malevolent presence seeking ingress, a terror that ignited twin screams from my sisters. These cries reached the very heavens, stirring not only myself, but our parents from their slumber above. Swiftly, my father ventured outside, but the intruder had vanished, like a wraith in the night, his vehicle carrying him to parts unknown. The law was summoned, and a report filed, yet the trail grew cold, the malefactor's identity concealed by the artifice of a fake number. We awaited justice, but time's passage dulled our hopes, for the depths of human motives remained a labyrinth, unfathomable, as enigmatic as the intruder who sought to breach a maiden's sanctum. The tale of Jennifer's harrowing encounter serves as a stark reminder of the perils lurking in the world of online dating. It underscores the importance of caution and vigilance when connecting with strangers in the digital realm. Jennifer's bravery and the support of her family saw her through a nightmarish ordeal, but many others may not be as fortunate. Let this story be a cautionary tale to all who tread the path of online romance, a reminder that safety should always come first. 7 years ago, on a fateful Halloween night, an inexplicable and spine-chilling series of events unfolded. As the witching hour drew near, and the neighborhood grew quiet, an eerie presence gripped the very core of our existence. Join me as I recount this bone-chilling tale that defies explanation. In the stillness of that Halloween night, my cousin's abandoned baby-alive doll lay on the floor, ominously silent. This doll had always possessed an uncanny quality, unsettling my younger cousin. Its presence became the epicenter of the bizarre occurrences that followed. As the night deepened, an unsettling rasping noise began emanating from the darkness outside, akin to an older man's voice. At first, we dismissed it as the neighbor's Halloween tape, but the sound persisted. The eerie whispers of a child and a woman soon joined the chorus, sending shivers down our spines. Our skepticism wavered when the doll, previously inert, appeared to have a life of its own. Its eyelids opened, and it grew heavier, defying all logic. Despite our disbelief in the paranormal, fear began to grip our hearts. Driven by curiosity and growing unease, I ventured to investigate the source of the sounds. Peering out the window, I found nothing but darkness, with no one in sight. The neighbor's house remained shrouded in silence, deepening the mystery. The unexplained noises and the doll's unsettling behavior reached a crescendo when a garbled voice and wheezing emanated from the darkness. Fear surged through me, prompting a courageous but ultimately futile attempt to confront the source of the disturbances. Upon returning to the doll, I made a startling discovery. Its eyes were open, and it had become inexplicably heavier. Fear coursed through me, and I dropped it, only for my cousin to toss it down the basement stairs once more. The eerie events left us perplexed and questioning our skepticism. To this day, my cousin denies the events ever transpired, and my little cousin never showed interest in the doll again. The inexplicable occurrences on that Halloween night remained an enigma, haunting our memories. The chilling events of that Halloween night serve as a haunting reminder that sometimes the unexplained lurks in the most unexpected corners of our lives. While skepticism may be our shield, there are moments when the paranormal defies all rationality, leaving us in a state of bewilderment. In this unnerving tale, I've shared a glimpse into a night when the boundary between the natural and the supernatural blurred, leaving a lasting impression that continues to send shivers down my spine. In the late 70s, my grandparents embarked on a new adventure, leaving Ohio behind to start a life in sunny Florida. Their dream was to manage a ranch, and when that opportunity finally came knocking, it seemed like a dream come true. As an 8-year-old, I had the privilege of visiting them once a month, staying for about 2 weeks each time. The ranch held a special place in my heart, evoking both fond memories and chilling experiences. In this narrative, I'll recount one such incident that still sends shivers down my spine. Located in Florida, the ranch will remain nameless for obvious reasons. My grandparents didn't receive much historical information about the place before their arrival. However, shortly after they settled in, the owner began to share some intriguing stories. Bound by a 10-year contract, my grandparents had a long-term commitment to the ranch. The land itself had a blend of native history and a tragic past, with an old Navy sailor having taken his own life in the front house several years prior. Moreover, the property was adorned with various ponds and trails, offering endless adventures for an 8-year-old like me. But what stood out the most was a peculiar pond that resembled a donut, with a small mound at its center, around 40 feet from the shore. As I would later discover, this pond held an unsettling secret, the belief that someone was buried at its very core. Whether this was true or just a story, I couldn't be certain, but it added an eerie dimension to the place. One sunny day, my father and I decided to go fishing at one of the more captivating ponds on the ranch. Little did I know that this would turn out to be a day I'd never forget. Armed with a small bait caster-sized rod and a red and white bobber, I was determined to catch something memorable. I preferred to fish away from the others, believing it would increase my chances of success. As I cast my line into the water and settled down by the edge with my feet slightly submerged, I felt like a seasoned angler. After about 20 minutes, I noticed my bobber dipping under the surface and then bobbing back up. It was a signal something had taken the bait. Excited, I reeled in the line, but it wouldn't yield. It was stuck on something. My father, on the other side of the pond and out of my line of sight, was unaware of my predicament. With determination, I decided to wade into the water, thinking I could free my line by changing its direction. The water was about knee-high, just below the edge of my rubber boots. It was as if some instinct guided me to do this. After a hard tug, my line finally came free, and even my worm was still hanging on the hook. I felt a surge of pride and decided to recast my line. And that's when the unimaginable happened. About a foot away from my foot, as I tried to regain my balance, a smaller stone dug itself into my shin, sending a searing pain through my left leg. Panic set in as I tried to pull my left leg forward, but it wouldn't budge. Something had a grip on my leg, pulling it back into the water. I struggled, the water soaking my boots, but whatever held my leg was relentless. I screamed for my father, but it seemed as though my cries fell on deaf ears. With each passing second, I was dragged further into the water. My heart pounded, and terror consumed me. I continued to scream and fight against the unseen force that had me in its clutches. And then, after what felt like an eternity, it let go. I was soaked, trembling, and horrified. I ran to my father, who was now visibly shaken by my state. Gasping for breath and bleeding from the wound on my left leg, I asked him why he hadn't come to my rescue when I was screaming for help. His response chilled me to the bone. "Son, I didn't hear any screaming. I couldn't even see you from where I was." To this day, I can't explain what happened in that pond. It's a memory etched into my mind, a tale of a terrifying encounter with something inexplicable. While no one else believes this story, I know what I experienced was real, and it serves as a reminder that the world can be a mysterious and eerie place, even in the most seemingly idyllic settings. And as I reflect on that day at the ranch, I'm left with a chilling sense that some mysteries are best left unsolved.